All right, Chris, are you ready to do some numbers?
Let's crunch some numbers.
All right, here we go. What is 5,318 times 1,000 plus 9 minus 1? Go. What do you get, Chris?
606, 7,000.
Not even fucking close. You get boobies. By the way, this isn't a calculator, it's a remote. You don't remember doing that in high school? The boobies trick on the calculator?
I didn't remember the numbers.
I mean, I don't expect anybody to, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Where you spell out boobies on the calculator. Does anybody use actual calculators anymore? Like, I was trying to find a calculator for this actual bit, and I could not even find one in my house. I don't think people actually have them anymore.
I don't think so.
Like, when you were in school, do you remember those, like, big Texas Instrument type calculators? Did you do anything like fun on those? Like, I remember you could play like games on them.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I actually had a Texas Instruments one, and I remember they were so complicated versus the Casio ones. And eventually I got a Casio because like they were teaching me in Casio calculators. They were like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing now because of this TI thing.
All right, two things. First off, for anybody that is like a millennial watching this, if you remember growing up with those calculators, I swear to God, this was a thing. You could program it to play Mario on it, like Super Mario Brothers. I kid you not, like that was a thing.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, you could play some legit games on those things. If anybody else, please, in the comment section, validate my point. If you're like a teacher now, like if you're a math teacher, please let us know. Do you actually use calculators? I can't imagine they would just let the kids use their phone.
Calculators.
But like everyday use, like you need a calculator, where are you going to go?
Your phone. Yeah.
Exactly. Anyways, welcome.
Conditions. Comment on our video, see how we do.
Yeah, let us know. Our calculators sales in the toilet. Anyways, welcome back to Crosscut. We're here for movies, not numbers. But on today's episode, we're going to be talking some numbers. As I am your co-host, Josh.
I'm your other co-host, Chris.
On this week's episode, we're going to take a break from our one movie streak of comedies. I thought I was going to do a comedy this week, but I said, you know what? There's a movie coming out that I'm going to watch, and I needed to watch the first one, and I did watch the first one, so I said, you know what, I'm going to make Chris watch it as well, that being The Accountant.
I had never heard of this movie, to be honest.
I mean, I've heard of it. I remember when it came out in 2016. I just never saw it. For whatever reason, I just never decided to go see it in theaters, but I do remember hearing about it. Like, every time I heard about it, I think it was actually our Rashad, our classmate, who actually first told me about it when it came out, and all I'd ever heard was good things about it.
To me, it was the opposite. Like, I had no idea what this thing was. But once you said it, I was like, wait, isn't the second one coming out? Like, I just saw an ad for it. I started watching it last night. Okay, I actually do like this movie.
Good. Yeah, I enjoyed it too. So for this episode, we're primarily going to be talking about The Accountant. Chris has not seen the sequel. I did see the sequel. I might talk about The Accountant 2 a little bit, but I do want to give a spoiler warning because we might talk about some spoilers for the first Accountant, and I might even accidentally slip something up about Accountant 2, but probably not. But just to be safe, spoiler warning for anybody that has not seen either movie, because there's definitely some like interesting plot. It's a little bit of a mystery for both, I would say. So I know you haven't seen the second one yet, but it's also a bit of a mystery.
Don't spoil it for me because I'm actually wanting to see the second one now.
Well, then go see it in theaters.
I might.
There you go. Anyway, so yeah, we'll primarily be talking about the first movie, but I might sprinkle in a little bit here and there for the second movie. So this movie came out in 2016, starring action star Batman himself, Mr. George Clooney. No, I'm just kidding. I guess the thing that you're going to talk about the most in this movie is his acting. And man, this is a role that I feel like actors could get so easily criticized for doing in Hollywood. It's kind of that trope where you see it in Tropic Thunder.
I ain't got a good brain.
I think you've got a fine brain, Jack.
And it's the kind of role that you play if you want to like try to like get an Oscar nomination. Not that I think this movie was ever going to be that kind of movie, but it's just like it's about a guy who's, autistic, who happens to be able to kill massive amounts of people.
In a way, it reminded me of The Town mixed with John Wick.
Which is funny you say The Town, because going in, I was like, oh, I think Ben Affleck directed this. And he actually didn't.
I thought so too.
Yeah, because he was directing a lot of his own movies at this time, and he was just directing a lot in general. And
Right.
I was like, oh, I think this movie, he directed it as well. And then he did, and it was directed by Gavin O'Connor, who also does the sequel as well. So
Okay.
he primarily just stars in this. He is also a producer. I think Matt Damon's also a producer on this as well.
Matt Damon.
It starts with him as a kid. I put it together right away, like which kid is he? You know,
Well,
when
yeah.
when you're showing the two brothers, I'm like, okay, it's him. Like, you got the traits, got the glasses. Okay.
Mhm.
Like at first glance, I thought it was the older one, just because how serious he is. But then it progresses. Okay, you're the one with autism.
One of the things I love about this movie is his lifestyle. He lives this kind of secretive, almost like
Yeah.
spy espionage kind of lifestyle, which is, I don't know, like I love the whole, he lives in the RV, which is inside of a storage unit. His apartment or his house, whatever, is very like simplified to where he only has the most basic of things, because if he needs to leave at any moment, then he can. Although he
Right.
does have like a freaking Gatling gun in his closet or whatever it was, so he's like ready for
That was
battle.
awesome.
Yeah. But I even like the one scene where he's pulling up in the driveway into the garage, and he times it like perfectly, because like that's like his mentality. And then when things start to go off balance, he drives up and he doesn't time it right, and that's like a nice little visual way to showing like things
Yeah.
are kind of screwed up. But
Mhm.
that's his style. It's very like OCD in a way.
I was gonna say,
And
yeah, but that
I'm not.
contributes to his autism. They have to do a certain way, and if it's off by one thing, it destroys everything that they're doing. Everything. Just like that with the driveway scene, like you said, he has it to do it perfectly every time. If he doesn't, it disrupts everything.
There's a little bit of this movie, and it happens in the sequel as well, where I get a little lost as far as what everything was going on, as far as like, so Ben Affleck ultimately, he is this accountant who works for these kind of like mob like people,
Right.
but he's very in the shadows with everything.
Right.
He also has his own accounting firm, which is basically just like kind of like a front, but it also is actually an actual accounting business. And I like how it was revealed that the entire Black Plaza was basically owned by him. It's kind of like his way of laundering money. We do see in the beginning he's helping this couple out. So it must be that when he has this kind of downtime, he just is doing regular accounting business for people.
He's actually helping people, yeah.
And I guess that's his whole idea, is like he doesn't really take the money. He basically gives all
He
the
gives
money
it
to
back.
this neuroscience center that was established in the beginning of the movie, that he was supposed to or should have gone if it wasn't for his dad, this military strict style father, who
Right.
basically upends his entire life, him and his brother, to the point where his mom eventually leaves them. And he is basically raised like this, almost like a superhero in a way. Like you see like his training and this intenseness of what he's
Well,
going through as a kid.
yeah. He even described it himself that his dad put him through all those trainings because he thought they would look at him as weak and as a freak, and to actually defend himself and whatnot. Well, it was for both of his boys, but the way he described it, like, oh, okay. And he just happened to fall in to the accounting for the mobs and stuff like that.
Right, which we meet his, I guess, mentor in jail, played by Jeffrey
Right.
Tambor, who ultimately is the one that's working for the mob. And I think he was in there because of what happened with that Gambino family or whatever they were called.
Right.
So he meet not Ben Stiller.
You make me happy.
Ben Affleck meets Jeffrey Tambor in prison, and I think Ben Affleck was in there because
of the funeral.
the funeral with his mother.
Mhm.
So him and his dad go to funeral. They get in a big fight. He gets arrested. He eventually meets this guy who is a accountant for this mob family. He teaches him the way. That guy eventually gets killed, which is how the whole movie kickstarts. You see this guy running into this building with a gun, and then somebody points a gun at him, and then we'll come back to that
Right.
later. That being J.K. Simmons.
And for that scene, when we actually don't see his face when he goes into the building, I first thought it was Ben Affleck's character going through the house,
Mhm.
and I didn't put it together at all that it was J.K. Simmons, his character, Raymond King, right? Till later, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Because
So so basically, J.K. Simmons is this like treasury kind of FBI agent type
yeah,
guy, and he essentially not recruits, but he brings in this younger agent, female agent, to find Ben Affleck. He
right.
basically almost blackmails her to
He
be like,
does.
he does.
He
He's
is.
like, I know you have a criminal record. I need you to find this guy. If you don't find him, all hell's going to break loose on your career. Was the whole intent to find Ben Affleck just so he can find him in general? Or was it because Ben Affleck and his whole associates were already in touch with J.K. Simmons, right? Throughout the years. And when I say associates, I mean the
The Brit.
girl from the Brit. Which I love that reveal at the end. Like I love that.
I did too. I'm still like curious, like who is she?
You get a
Like,
bit more. You can actually get more of her in the sequel.
okay,
Like she actually is a very big part of like helping them out in the sequel. Like she is. Like I'm trying to think of like a good comparison. Like in James Bond, what's the one character? Is it Q? That is
yeah,
always he's kind of like the guy in the chair, like Ned
the guy
says in Spider
engineer.
Man, right?
He did. I was Spider-Man's guy in the chair.
But what's cool
Um,
in the sequel,
yeah,
and this isn't a spoiler, is she uses like the students as well, and they all have their little station and they're all like helping. There's actually some like really cool scenes of like them helping Ben Affleck like while he's in the field. So, but going back to the first movie, J.K. Simmons, because isn't that what he tells the girl, the FBI agent lady at the end, where he's like, now you're gonna take over, and
right,
now you're gonna get the calls. So
right.
was this kind of like a test, or like I was just trying to figure out what his motivation was?
I think so too, because like he already knew who he was from the very beginning,
But did he know
so
his name?
it doesn't seem
I don't
like it.
think no. So he would just get the calls, but he didn't actually know who this person was.
No,
That essentially gave him his life.
right, like he doesn't know his identity, like
Yes.
no one ever does, but he knows who he is, where he's coming from, and all
Right.
that, So I think it is, yes, a test for her to see, okay, I'm going to tell you this, find out for yourself like I did, and didn't have her decide like he decided, should I go with him or try to turn him in if he can.
And I will say that her character is has a much bigger role in the sequel as well.
Okay.
Actually, she's a very, very important.
Well, I would assume so because I'm guessing she's interacting with him more.
And actually in person, because I don't think they actually meet face to face in this movie. Yeah. So in the sequel, they're have scenes together, and their scenes are very funny. I guess where the movie really kicks off is when Ben Affleck is recruited to go to this robotics company to do their accounting for them. It's essentially turns out that they're missing, or like $60 million went somewhere that they don't know. So there's the main guy, head of the company, played by John Lithgow, aka Future Dumbledore. Then there's his sister, played by Jean Smart. And then it's like his best friend or like business partner, who ultimately
Yeah.
was the one
He was
laundering the
embezzling.
money.
Yeah.
Embezzling it. Thank you. He was embezzling the money, but then he was trying to bring it back, right? And that's why that's
Right.
when John Bernthal comes into the mix, right?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Like it's kind of weird. Like if he was embezzling the money, so he was trying to put it back to cover his tracks, but then it was already too late for him. But I think the main guy, Lamar, knew about it.
Yeah, he was okay with it. It seemed like,
Right. He wasn't that big of a
and
deal. But when he dies, I was like, okay.
you're talking
He
about
already,
the business partner friend when he
yeah,
dies. You mean
yeah.
with
When he died.
the insulin?
Yeah, the overdose insulin. And
Yeah.
then I can never remember his name, the Punisher.
The character or the actor?
Both.
Well, John Bernthal and Braxton was the character.
Since he already had to deal with Braxton at the end anyway to protect himself, like
Mhm.
He already knew that his partner was gonna die. So he's just trying to cover his tracks by getting rid of the accountant because he still thinks he's just a civilian, he's just a normal accountant.
So okay, so I was gonna ask, so because they do bring in Ben Affleck to do these accounting, but like if you're trying not to get in trouble, was he just doing? He was bringing in an outside accountant to be like, "Hey, look, government, like I'm not doing anything shady. I even brought in this outside person to like look at our
Right.
numbers. They just happened to bring in the wrong person.
Right, he just happened to bring in the right person.
You
But
brought
the
in
thing is,
the
I don't think
accountant."
I don't think his sister actually knew about the leak when Ben Affleck told her like how much it was, and I was like, okay, I think I know who it is. That's how she got shot in the end.
Gotcha.
Because
Yeah.
Lamar was already spiraling out of control. Like, okay, I already lost my business partner. I have to get cut loose, more loose ends. He's panicking. He kills her.
Because he basically, and when we say Lamar, we're talking John Lithgow, who's the head of this robotics company. He does have this whole scene where he tells Ben Affleck, "I never had a wife. I never had kids. This is my baby. This is my family.
Right.
This company." So obviously, this company means everything to him.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk John Bernthal for a little bit. So first off, question for you. And again, spoiler, even though it's not a big spoiler, because I kind of already knew this, the Accountant 2 trailer gave this away. Did you know it was his brother?
At first, no. To me, he seemed like he was just one of those big, tough mercenary guys that gets
Right.
hired and is like, he takes it as a challenge to find his accountant. That's what I thought about it. It dawned me when he starts finishing the rhymes, like, you're gotta be kidding me. It did cross my mind, like, where's his brother? Where's his sister?
Well, he doesn't have a sister.
Yes.
No, that girl in the beginning was the daughter of the guy at the head of the neuroscience center.
I really thought that was her sister from this entire
No, it wasn't his sister. It was
time.
so the little girl in the beginning that gives him the puzzle piece when he's a little kid
Yeah.
is the voice on the phone, the Brit.
Okay.
But she is the daughter of the guy that runs that center for the autistic kids.
Okay. This entire time I thought it was his sister. At the end, when you see her, he says his daughter. I was like a little confused because I still thought it was his sister. Like, was she a doctor or something, or what? Now, when you say this, I'm like,
yeah. So she just was the daughter of the guy who was the head of the place or whatever. So yeah, John Bernthal is his brother, and we finally find out what happened to him after all those years as a kid, which I feel bad for him as a kid because like growing up, man, it had to be a rough childhood. First off, growing up with like a sibling that has disability is not the easiest. I would know myself, and you have your mom that just freaking upends you one day, like just leaves. And even like I think when she's leaving, he like flips her off, I think. Yeah.
through the window.
But like it's a little funny, but also like justified as well. Like, like what the fuck? But also, did the mom leave because the dad would not put Christian in the home?
I think it was more than that.
I'm sure it was, but I mean, in the movie universe, like that seemed like that would have been the motivation.
But it's also like he wanted to treat them as normal as possible, and she was like, "They're not normal. They need the help." And he's like, "No, they don't." He found his own way to make them normal in society.
Yeah, his way of making it normal, right?
Right.
So, yeah. Now, the John Bernthal, that might have been the most confusing as far as like, so he is like a hitman, and I think he just is like a contractor for.
He's a mercenary.
Yeah, so he gets the job from this person, and actually, it's expanded more in the sequel. But he basically his job was to go kill these people from the robotics company. Right. That was his job. But then the accountant comes in, so it gets convoluted. So they have to kill him basically at the end. And
I'll revert back to him and the other loose end, which is Dana.
By the cutie herself, Anna Kendrick.
Oh, that's the cutie of the week, Anna Kendrick.
She was adorable in this movie.
I thought she was gonna be more in the movie, but
She is
No.
so believable as this just like, I don't know, quirky little girl that would work for this like big company as this just like little accountant, and like her story was nice. And then she's
I do
not in the
like
sequel,
her
just forewarning, she's not in the sequel. However, if they do a third movie, there is possibility that she would return for the third movie.
I like their like little interaction, like when he's actually at the company and they start talking about accounting
Right.
stuff.
Well, he gets excited, which
Uh-huh.
it was funny because it's like he has somebody to like, enjoy the
Yeah,
moment with.
exactly.
He's probably so used to doing everything himself, and he has somebody to actually get excited with about this. So it was cool.
I like
So
the
I
little,
guess
little fun
yeah,
part.
right. So I guess she was the first threat that they tried to take out.
Right. She got lucky because of the accountant. That was
Well, he
just
saved her. He
lucky.
saved her life. Yeah. And what's fun about this movie is, and I think they use this line in this one. If not, they definitely use it in the sequel. It's like, Christian, do you like puzzles? Like, I like that kind of
Oh,
like
yeah.
sets up like, all right, now we got to figure out this mystery. And just going back to John Bernthal for a moment. So he's in the sequel. And what's great is that, so him and Ben Affleck's chemistry is so good together. Now, obviously, in this first movie, they only really have on-screen time of maybe a few minutes
At the
when
end.
at the end, right? But they're in a lot more of the sequel together, and their chemistry is so good. So I do. I highly recommend The Accountant, and I do recommend The Accountant too. If you like this one, you'll like the second one.
Like I enjoyed the hell out of it. I mean, even the action scenes with all the shooting, like damn.
The action, yeah, the action's fun. I mean, Ben Affleck, like, I think they kind of built him up to be like, all right, now you're just gonna go buck wild and just start
Mhm.
blowing dudes away. And I mean, he's literally just like bam, bam, bam. He is like John Wick. Like that was a good example to
Yeah.
use. Like, yeah,
But even the moves reminded me of John Wick so much. With just the double tap shooting and
right,
everything.
yeah.
Like, okay, I'm liking this. I'm liking this.
So yeah, the action's very solid, and then the sequel just as good with the action, if not better, actually. So I think it's kind of funny too. Like there's some moments where you'll chuckle. Definitely the second one, you will laugh for sure.
Okay. Well, I don't I really really like this movie. It's has so much detail, and I love detail. So and the fact that it pinpoints everything he does, where he came from, how organized he is. It's, I love it.
I'm glad I recommended it. So that's gonna wrap it up for this week's episode of Crosscut. If you've seen The Accountant, or if you've even seen The Accountant too, let us know. I enjoyed both movies. Chris will eventually see the second one, and I'm sure he'll enjoy the second one as well. But anyways, we want to thank everybody for hanging out with us and crunching some numbers. Make sure to hit that like, that subscribe, leave a comment, whatever you want to say.
Like you said, it's a fun ass movie to watch, and yes, definitely check it out. It's I saw it on Max.
Oh yeah, this movie's also streaming. Like you could watch on like Paramount. I think it was on. I think I watched it on Prime, Max. Like yeah, it's like
Yeah,
everywhere.
it's on everything. I'll definitely be wanting to watch the second one. Curious about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, like the second one is kind of its own little separate story. It has nothing to do with the first movie's main story. It is its own like new story, but it is still like those characters, and you get a little bit more
I
with those
would imagine.
characters. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
Hopefully, it's definitely worth a watch.
well, the way that movies are going now, I'm sure it'll be streaming in 18 days, so you don't have to wait that long. Anyways, that's another beautiful week of Crosscut here. I'm taking the tie off. Chris, take it from here.
Print, moving on.
All right. Chris, go to the movies. Go support cinema. Go see The Accountant too.